Tax software bargain hunters are probably going to be taking a look at a variety of different tax software to get the best price, but also a really good experience when filing their tax return. TaxHawk still offers free federal filing for all users regardless of your situation, and just a small fee for the state filing. But in our review, we found that some bargain hunters may find the tax software just a little bit clunky and may not be worth the price and might want to look elsewhere, while others definitely seem to get the most bang for their buck. Let's go ahead and look through TaxHawk in this review. Hey guys, it's Justine with The College Investor, investing and personal finance for millennials. Today we are looking at TaxHawk. They've been around for a while and they really sit in this bargain level tax software tier. So you're going to see premium tax software such as H&R Block or TurboTax, and then you're going to see others like FreeTaxUSA and TaxSlayer and also TaxHawk fall within this tier. So let's go ahead and ask the question, is TaxHawk really free? So even though clever marketing likes to use the word free or $0, TaxHawk actually does cost a little bit of money. The federal filing is free, $0 for all tax situations. However, you are going to be paying $14.99 per state filing. In addition to that, there are optional upgrades such as the Deluxe package and Pro support, which will add to the overall cost of the software, but might actually be of benefit to you. Now, if you're a small business owner or a side hustler, you might find a lower price with any other tax software out there, or maybe even the same price as what I found in my own research. You might find the same price as another tax software. In fact, I found that FreeTaxUSA was priced at the exact same as what TaxHawk offers. So it's that $14.99 for state filing, and then the $7.99 for the deluxe tier upgrade, and then $29.99 for pro support. You're going to see the same price over at FreeTaxUSA. So I think when it comes down to which one would you go with, it really depends on what's inside of the software and that user experience. Let's talk about what's new in 2023 with TaxHawk. So similar to all the other tax software that we've reviewed at thecollegeinvestor.com, you're going to see the tax software reflect the latest tax law changes that have been made over the past year. So all of that's been reflected inside of the software. You're also going to see $1 extra for that deluxe tier support, similar to what FreeTaxUSA did as well. Deluxe support also includes unlimited amendments to your return, and you're going to be able to get live chat support as well. Now, if you upgrade to the Pro support for $29.99, you can get either the chat or call support with a tax professional along with some tax advice, depending on what your tax situation is when you're filing your return. So if you were to pay for all of the upgrades within TaxHawk, including Pro support, the deluxe tier, and the state filing, that really comes out to $53 for bargain hunters who want a little bit of support but don't want to pay over $100 that you would get with H&R Block or TurboTax. This seems like a sweet spot. You're paying $53 to do your entire return, plus get some guidance from a tax professional. All right, let's go ahead and hop into the TaxHawk dashboard and I'll show you how the software works. What's great about TaxHawk is as soon as I logged in, because I used the software last year, it is going to transfer over my information from the previous year, which makes filing again and again with the same software really easy to use, and it's going to speed up the process. So I just included some fake information in here. This is all just fake numbers just so that we can see what this looks like on the inside. So it says we're transferring your information from last year to make things easier. We do this free of charge because we value you as a returning customer. So heads up, you know, if you want a little bit of brand loyalty, they're going to reward you for that. All right, so personal information, income has been transferred over, and then we'll check for earned income credit, child tax credit, standard or itemized deductions, and other deductions and credits. Let's get started. All right, so personal information is still here. If anything has changed, you can go ahead and update it here. Otherwise, if you create a new account, you would just enter in all of this information, and the form is pretty easy to use, right? Like there's nothing here that should be hard to figure out, and there's not a lot of text. Also, what's really interesting is FreeTaxUSA is very similar to TaxHawk, like almost identical, because they also had this federal refund window here, and you're gonna see this change depending on what tax information you put into the software, and it's going to tell you whether you're getting a refund or whether you owe. All right, let's scroll to the bottom and save and continue. Let's say our filing status is single. Do you have any dependents or qualifying children? Let's say that we do. Let's see. Okay, let's say if we had a dependent, residency information. Did Tracy live with you in the US for all of 2022? Yes. Tracy's not disabled. Is she a US citizen? Yes. Yes. Do you have an agreement? Yes. Is Tracy's other parent claiming her on her tax return? No. Okay, adding dependents is really easy to use. Oop, let's go back. And we don't have any more dependents. Let's double check your personal info. Okay, interesting. They're flagging head of household status is better than single. Head of household is for unmarried people who paid over the half the cost of keeping up a home for a qualifying person. Qualifying person is usually a child who lived with you for more than half the year. Oh, you can change your filing status here. Let's change it to head of household and see what happens. I like how TaxHawk alerted me of that. So here's all of our information. And here's where they're going to get you with that upgrade. So Deluxe is just going to get you live chat, audit assist, the unlimited amended returns for $7.99. Again, exact same thing with FreeTaxUSA. All right, then we can go ahead and go into our income section. So what I like about TaxHawk is that it has all of the different sections very clearly listed out for you. So if I click on this drop-down menu for income, you're going to see exactly where you're at in your return. But because we're starting with wages and W-2, I can't skip around to any of these other income sections, nor can I move on to the deductions and credits because I have to report my income first. So it really does kind of force you into this as your starting gate, which I kind of like because then you don't get tripped up in a different section of your return that you don't need to be in. Let's go ahead and fill out Bob's wages, his form W-2. And another note about TaxHawk, and I think this is where this is a drawback of the software, is that you can't import W-2s electronically, and you can't import PDFs. So that is kind of a buzzkill, and you're going to have to manually, do some typing and enter in that information if that's okay with you. And also, if you have pretty simple forms and you don't have a bunch of stuff that you need to report, then I'd say this is a sacrifice I'd be willing to make for the extremely cheap price that I'm paying to file my return. And let's go ahead and fill this out. Okay, now that I have all of the information that I can literally just copy and paste from a PDF W-2 version, which I think would really help you avoid any errors instead of typing it in, just copy and paste from the PDF. This would work really well if you have dual monitors, so that you can have your electronic tax forms up on one screen and the tax software on another, and then you could just quickly copy paste the numbers from your PDF into the tax software. Once you have your W-2 information entered, you're going to see kind of a quick summary section of your income. So we're going to see that I reported about $106,000 for the year from my W-2. If you had any other income forms, such as a 1099 INT or a 1099 div form, like from a bank, anytime you earn dividends, then this is where we could start that section, add the dividend income, and then go through this. So let's say that we received some dividends from Capital One, and we received some ordinary dividends of $234, qualified of $146, and let's see, save and continue. And you're going to see that refund amount change here on the left-hand corner. So do I need to enter any more dividend income? No, and continue. So that was pretty easy, right? It looks like last year I had filled in a 1099 INT form, and it says need info from TD Ameritrade. So I like that it copied that over from the year prior. Then I could report any interest income that I might have earned from TD Ameritrade. So I could type that in, save and continue. And that's the only forms that I have. Can scroll down here, and then you can see a list of all the different types of forms that might be available or that you might need to report for your income section. And I also like how they have subsections for business and rental income. If you have a Schedule C, if you're a self-employed individual, then you're definitely going to be reporting that business income right here in this section. Anytime you have a question about something, I do think that these little question mark icons are really helpful, because then it's going to pop open this help box and explain exactly what they are asking for or who this would apply to. And I like that when I popped open this pop-up window, it's not filled with tax jargon. It's not overwhelming. They don't have a lot of text, but just enough to really understand. And you're going to have to read and walk through that if you're unfamiliar with a particular form. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and click continue here. Cryptocurrency is also going to be addressed here. If you did have cryptocurrency, you're going to report that as either a capital gain or a capital loss if you sold crypto in the past year. So I do like that they address that here, but you're again going to have to manually add in that information. There are no import or integration features like you would get with TurboTax. TurboTax has the integrations to connect with cryptocurrency wallets like Coinbase, and you're going to be able to get that functionality, but at a much higher cost. All right, let's take a look at the 2022 income summary. And you're going to see all the different sections that you could have reported total income, and then click continue. All right, here's the second upgrade that they're going to offer to you. This is the Pro support for $29.99. You're going to get tax advice from a CPA or EA, upgrade to phone support. So instead of the chat, you get phone support, guidance with screen share. That's really nice. Audit assist. And that's literally it. I think this would be a really easy thing to add on if you were unsure, if you maybe had new things come in last year like cryptocurrency. Having a tax professional right at your fingertips is really nice. All right, let's go move on to the next section, deductions and credits. You're gonna see now that we have access to this drop-down menu. If we needed to go back to income, you can see exactly what we reported. I love this. It's like a quick checklist. It's gonna show a green check mark next to the things that we reported, and then kind of this hollowed out check mark on things that we did not report. So if you had tax forms mailed to you late or emailed to you late, then you could go back in and see exactly where to put that particular form. I think that's really nice. All right, let's maximize your itemized deductions. The standard deduction is $19,400. Let's look at this. Some states allow you to itemize deductions even when you don't itemize on your federal return. Okay, let's go continue. Do you have any of these itemized deductions? So we could take a look down here: medical expenses, mortgage interest, donations to charity, investment interest. Let's just click continue through this and go with the standard deduction. Did you have marketplace health insurance? No. Did you contribute to an IRA? Let's say we did, yes. And we did a traditional IRA contribution of $6,000. And we did not withdraw. Did anyone attend college? No. Did you have student loans? No. Did you have teacher expenses? No. Earned income credit. Okay, they checked for that. Adjusted gross income is over the limit, so let's continue. We did get a child tax credit of $2,000. And no energy efficiency improvements, no carryover or forfeit benefits. Did you pay for childcare? Let's say yes, we did. Do you need to enter any care providers? Yes. Let's say we paid $24,000 towards Sunnyside daycare. All right, let's continue. All right, so we got a child care credit of $600 because we reported the child care expenses of $24,000. Okay, now here's the entire list of all the common deductions and credits that we went through. Go ahead and click continue. Take a look at other deductions and credits. If you had an HSA, a health savings account, this is where you would report that. And any other medical savings accounts, qualified adoption expenses, then in your home, vehicles and fuel, employment, and other. Go ahead and click continue. And then I like how they have a summary page at the end of every section. So you can quickly see all the information that you've input, and we'll go ahead and click continue. All right, now we're into the miscellaneous forms and topics. If you had any estimated tax payments that you made throughout the year, especially if you're self-employed or you're paying quarterly taxes, this is where you would input that information. And then any of this personal, foreign income, other deductions, taxes. Let's continue here. Do you want to go through the refund maximizer? Sure. Make sure you're claiming all the dependents that you can. Nice. Okay. This is great. So it's going to walk you through all of the different sections to make sure that you are getting the biggest possible refund. All right, let's make sure you've entered everything. Do you have any of these common tax forms to enter, such as a 1099 SA showing health savings account information? All right, here's our federal tax summary. Everything looks great. I like how this is all clearly listed out in kind of this vertical form. And then what you can do is, because TaxHawk actually doesn't allow you to e-file your return until mid to late January when the IRS starts accepting those returns, you can always input your information as soon as you get it. And then once it's all put into the tax software and you're ready to go through that process with the IRS, click review and then click submit, and then all of that is done for you. Once you get through the federal filing, then you can move on to the state filing, which is going to copy over all the information you just put into the software, and then it's going to go through the state return as well. And that's a look inside of TaxHawk. So is TaxHawk worth it? I mean, it's literally the same look and feel as FreeTaxUSA and the same price. So if you were using FreeTaxUSA last year and you wanted to jump over to TaxHawk, I just don't think that makes sense, especially because both of those tax software allowed you to copy over your personal information and your W-2 information from the previous year. So if you were using FreeTaxUSA last year, then I would just continue to use it this year, because it's very much the exact same thing as TaxHawk, only you wouldn't be able to transfer over your personal information. Even though you can't import W-2s or 1099s, knowing that the highest price you're going to pay for TaxHawk is $53, I think that's a sacrifice that I would be willing to make if I didn't want to sacrifice dollars put into a tax software. And if you know what you're doing, I felt like the guidance and the navigation inside the software was really easy to use. And if you have just a few tax forms, this is the way to go. Actually, TaxHawk consistently makes our list of best tax software for the year, and this year is no exception. So you're gonna find it really easy to use, especially for those who make side hustle income, rental property income, small business income. I just felt like they were able to walk through any tax situations fairly easily. Don't forget, we have a bunch of tax software reviews available to you at thecollegeinvestor.com to help you make the best choice in filing your taxes this year. If you like this video, give it a big thumbs up, and we'll catch you in the next one.